Good morning, Metru Nui! Welcome back to another episode of the Barraki Talk Show. We're your hosts, the Mielik brothers,
Jacob,
Samuel,
Thomas, and we're glad you're joining us today as we talk our way through the weird and wondrous world of Bionicle. But first, coming up on the Barraki Talk Show. Romantic love is dead and Rahaga killed it. George Lucas ripped off Greg. I'll stand by that. This is the end of Bonkle. There's no Bonkle after this. It's all gone.
Yep.
George
Lucas, you guys enjoyed it.
George Lucas got it in the divorce. All that and more coming up on the Barraki Talk Show.
The Web of Shadows movie, released in 2005, was one of those movies that is one of the movies of all time.
You know what? I will say this is a movie, and it existed at a point in time.
And it has a plot.
True.
And characters.
Uh-huh. Structure is debatable, but it definitely had a plot and characters.
It does have those things, and there were moving pictures.
True.
On the screen.
Uh-huh.
Voice acting.
Very good voice acting.
Good voice acting.
I was going to say.
Overall, despite its many flaws, and there are many, still the best of the three Bionicle movies.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the best of the three Bionicles, as much as that might seem like heresy to some of you guys. But we're right and you're wrong. Have you considered that?
I mean, it's the one that I feel like has the most plot structure to it.
Of the original three, I even think Legend of Metru Nui has a better plot structure.
Really?
Yeah. Because this one is a bunch of nothing and a third act. Like, there's no first act, and there's no second act.
Yeah, there is a first act. It's just the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Which is ideally not what a first act should be. But any other general thoughts? So we'll give our overall thoughts, and then we'll do a breakdown of the plot as we go through, and comment mercilessly. Mercilessly, that's the word I'm lurking for. Milady.
What? He turned into a Reddit mod.
Yeah. Anyway, so my overall thoughts, I think it was the best of the three. I think the designs were very good. The animation was very fluid. And the Rahaga were goated all the way through.
I tend to agree. It was the best of the three. I would say that, like, visually speaking, it was probably on par with Legends of Metru Nui.
Mm-hmm.
But the Hordica designs of, like, in the movie are better than the designs of the Metru,
yeah.
I think. Like,
I think the Hordica designs in the movie are even better than the ones in the sets.
Well, I was going to say the ones in the movie are very close to the sets, whereas the ones in Legends of Metru Nui, like, they definitely took some liberty when they were translating it onto the screen.
Yeah, it seems like weirdly they took fewer liberties with the translation of set designs from the toys to the screen as they went through the movies. Because, like, the Nuva,
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Feel like they have the most differences,
Deviants,
and then it's like slowly comes more and more in line.
Yeah, and by the time you get to Legend Reborn, it's like almost one for one.
Yeah.
Which, again, not Miramax, completely different company, but still.
Yeah, it would be the Lego philosophy, not necessarily the movie studio.
Right.
I also thought the Visorak looked really cool and good. They had a nice texture, sound design, and just design of how they would mechanically fit together.
Yeah. I think it was both technically and story-wise was the most interesting to watch. Like, was it maybe the best structured, like you said? Story-wise, no, but it was at least enjoyable. Especially the third act is enjoyable. I would say the beginning of the movie is not really, because it very much feels like this is a meandering slog. Like, they did not know how to set this story up. And there are, now that we've gone through it, and I've asked a bunch of questions just behind the scenes, I'm now realizing that there are probably a lot of reasons for that. And it's like because they did chop up the story so weirdly for how they did it in the movie. Like, for the Legends of Metru Nui movie, like, you get the weird introduction right? Mm-hmm. Where they get the Toa stones, or Lee-Kon gets the Toa stones, he goes and gives out, and then it skips the Great Disc.
But at least shows that happens.
Yeah, it shows that it happens, and from there on out, all the way up until when they leave for Matanui, it's like one coherent,
nothing
cohesive
happens
story,
in between.
right?
You see all the events in the movie.
All the events follow through. And Web of Shadows, they act like that's the case, but then knowing the books, that's not at all the case. And so we'll get into it, because I had to ask Thomas a whole lot of questions about this, because I was like, I'm so confused when these parts from the book happen in relation to the film.
Well, and the other weird thing about it too is it's a midquel to a prequel, right? Because Legends of Metru Nui is a prequel to Bionicle Mask of Light, right? And then in between the last scene and the second to last scene of Legend of Metru Nui is where this entire movie takes place. So it's like, that's a weird time to set it in, because like you already know what happens. There's no tension, right? So it's just very bizarre, and it's even weird that almost the entire Hordica story takes place in between two scenes of this movie, of when they get off the boat and when they get captured, right? Because that's where the entire 7th book takes place. It's just like, there's a lot of stuff that happened before they got captured, so it's just very strange to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess since we're already talking about, that's what I was saying. Like, there's weird cuts where it feels like there's a whole bunch that happened that they don't explain at all. And that's because in the context of the story, a whole bunch did happen that they did not explain. Right? So, like, there's a part where Vekama gets mad in Web of Shadows and he walks away. And then he like gets captured by the Visorak, and we'll cover all of this. But apparently those are two separate times that he's walked away, and the entire 8th book happens in between those two scenes, right?
Yep.
And so it's like, but it's stitched together as if this is one continuous scene and one thought, like Vekama going on the same walk, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there's a huge battle, a huge chunk of the story that happens, and that's where they get all the stuff for the airships too, in that story. And then at the end of the movie they just have airships.
And it's like
okay, those stayed intact. They destroyed the rest of Metru Nui, but you know, the airships are fine.
The fragile airship.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very weird.
Overall, I think it was the most enjoyable of the movies.
It's one I might actually watch again.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, I wouldn't mind watching this again. Like, it was cool enough.
Yeah.
And Kitongu's in it, so.
I was going to say, there are elements that make it so much better than the other ones in turn. So, for example, the Rahaga. The Rahaga are good and fairly interesting in the movie. Kitongu is good and fairly interesting in the movie. Even most of the Toa are actually pretty interesting, and especially Matau and Vekama's relationship throughout the movie, which is kind of the one they focus on, right? It is important.
Yeah.
But you actually have elements that are interesting apart from the plot, right? And I feel like all of the other ones prior to this, the other two, really do not have that. Like, the characters aren't that interesting. You don't care so much about them.
Wanua and Onua bum around in a cave for part of Legend of Metru Nui. You're like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to Mask of Light, like, basically the only characters you get to know are Jala and Takua.
Yeah.
And they're fine, but they're not outstanding. They're not super compelling characters that you're like, man, I wish we could just spend more time with them. And I don't think Web of Shadows necessarily has that, right? Like, you're not like, wow, I just love these characters so much, but it's definitely a step in the right direction where they are more compelling on their own, right? So I think that's what contributes to the wanting to come back to the film, is because there are aspects of it apart from just the kind of disjointed story.
Yeah.
That
I feel like there are things I could have missed that would make me appreciate the movie.
Yes, exactly. That's a good, succinct way of putting it.
Yeah. So, with that all being said, are we good to move on to the plot synopsis?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to be going through, commenting, and I'm going to point out where entire books of information happen.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we start off with the Lecon 2 crashing onto Metru Nui proper. So the Lecon 2 was a Vaki transport that the Toa made to get across to Metru Nui from the Great Barrier when they came back from Mata Nui, right? So they could rescue all the Matoran. So they do that, it crashed on the shore, and that's where the movie begins. They're all on the shore, covered in mud, doing whatever, and so on. And they wake up, and they exchange their personality traits to each other. So then they wash up on the beach, and they walk forward into the city, right? And in between those two scenes is where almost the entirety of the 7th book takes place, because they're wandering around the city, finding all sorts of stuff, fighting the Visorak, getting trapped in the Moto Hub. All that happens, and they just skip right past that in the movie and to where they get captured by the Visorak. So they're going through the city, and it is overrun by Visorak, and the archives have been breached. Vakama says they don't need to worry, and then they're instantly all ambushed by Visorak and need to worry. So they're all hung up in cocoons now, and they're getting mutated, and everyone's blaming Vakama. They're like, "Ah, darn you, Vakama. If we hadn't listened to you and followed you, none of us would be in this mess." But the way the movie presents it, Vakama didn't do anything to get them in this mess. How it's how it's done is like they're all standing around, they're all arguing what to do, and Vakama's like, "Okay, let's just do this." And then like immediately after he makes that choice, they get paralyzed by the Visorak. They didn't take one step before they get paralyzed.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, just fine. Like, it was bad timing. You know, 5 seconds later, no one could have blamed Vakama based off of how that was portrayed. Yeah. But that's not accurate given the book information.
And even with that, how it's portrayed, Vakama was the one scouting around to make sure they weren't ambushed at the beginning when he comes back to all the people in the mud. So it's like, the one thing we've seen Vakama do was helpful. So it's like, what are you blaming him for in purely this context? So if you're just watching Bionicle 1, Bionicle 2, and Bionicle 3, you would be so confused as to like why everyone hates Vakama.
Yeah. That's why you gotta read books, kids.
Yeah. So they're all ambushed by the Visorak and mutated, and everyone's like, "Stupid Vakama, you're so dumb," especially Matau and Onua. Like, Onua's literally thrashing around and raging, but his mouth is covered. So then a Visorak informs Sidorak, the leader. The leader?
The leader?
What? The leader of the Visorak
What, are
hordes.
you British now?
Yeah, I'm British now. Gov. So he informs the leader of the horde, Sidorak, that the Toa are trapped, and Sidorak's like, "Okay, kill them." They're Toa. Get
Which
rid
would
of
be
them.
the smart move.
Yes, smartest character in the entire movie, maybe. Dare I? No. But then Rahaga is like, "Wait, my king, what if we let your legend grow?" I don't know why I'm giving her the fortune teller from Aladdin.
Yeah. You mean Jafar?
No. The guy at the beginning who sings Arabian Nights.
Yeah, that's... Oh, wait, no,
that's
that's
the
not.
genie.
That's
maybe.
It's not...
Yeah, it's
maybe.
likely the genie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so she says it would be a lot cooler if they were mutated and then killed, because that would grow the legend of the hordes and be like, "Ooh, look what we did to these Toa. You don't want to mess with us now." I'm like, I can kind of see the point, but also, who cares?
But also, is it worth the risk?
Yeah,
like, would people be more scared of the fact that you mutated a Toa and then killed them, or just killed the Toa outright?
Yeah.
Like,
I'd be more scared of getting mutated and killed.
Yeah, like, I agree, but is it so worth it? Like, is that much more fear worth the potential of something going wrong?
Yeah. Sidorak didn't calculate that far ahead, and obviously Rahaga is the one who's trying... No, because she still wants them dead as well. There's no reason for her to do this plan, because she was just going to harvest their elemental energies from their bodies to free Makuta. That's her plan. So they don't need to be mutated to do this. So weird choices all around, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Toa are cocooned, and they are eventually mutated. And Nokama is the only one that doesn't berate Vakama. She's like, "It's not his fault." And they're like, "Really?" And she's like,
Debatable.
Yeah, it's kind of a non-committal shrug. And then Vakama's like, no, you guys are right. I'm garbage." And then the cocoons shatter and they all fall to their deaths. The movie ends. The crazy third act, am I right?
Directed by George Lucas.
Yeah. So
Written and directed by George.
it's also funny, without the context of the 7th book, where Vakama has his entire god complex. It just looks like this is like, oh, there's a loser of a leader, and now he's sad because he's a loser.
I'm
like,
a loser at home and a loser at work.
It's like he starts pretty low and then goes
Literally
lower.
Vakama.
Whereas the reason the fall is more believable, his fall, spoilers for later in the movie when he turns evil, is that like he was so high up,
yeah.
and then he came crashing down to rock bottom. It's like I could see why you'd be more susceptible then, rather than just, I'm a bad leader. Guess I'll be evil now, right?
Yeah.
So, as the Toa are falling, a bunch of weird little helicopter guys come in and save them.
Yay for the weird helicopter guys.
Yeah.
Freaky
They're a
little
lot
helicopter
cooler than they
guys.
sound.
Yeah, they are probably my favorite part of the movie. And these guys are called the Rahaga. They look like a Turaga mixed with a Rakshi, because they have a Rakshi-looking head.
Hence
They actually
Rahaga.
look very
Yes.
much like the actual sets that we saw in the last episode.
Yeah.
So unlike the Rakshi,
Yeah.
the Rahaga look like their sets.
I think they look really good. And the way their mouths move in the movie is fantastic as well.
What, Matt, way their mouths movie in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Wait, so I have a question. I just thought of this. They have the helicopter like propeller blade,
Mhm.
right? But in the sets, those are Rotuka spinners. Are those meant to be the helicopter?
Do not know.
So okay.
No, because don't they have Rotukas
No,
in the
I don't
movie?
think they
In
ever
the movie,
shoot
they
the
don't appear to
Rotukas.
have Rotuka.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Unless
mean, I
it's
wasn't
hidden.
looking for it,
It
so
may
I
be
don't
like where it
remember.
converts to a helicopter blade or a Rotuka spinner, but I don't know. I'd have to do more in-depth study. Editor Thomas here. They took a bunch of liberties with the Rahaga design. They replaced their Rotuka spinners with the helicopter blades, so in the movies they don't have Rotuka spinners at all, and they also give the Rahaga retractable lights on their heads, I guess more to fit the helicopter theme. Canonically, they look and act like they do in the sets. So, they save the falling Toa and they all get him to safety. And then Rudaka starts monologuing evilly to Makuta. She's like, I will free you, you know, like using the dead Toa's elemental powers. I'm gonna do whatever.
Oh, we forgot to mention that the movie actually starts with Rudaka like scraping a piece of the
Toa seal off of Makuta.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
like
that's true.
Makuta's trapped like he is in Legends of Metru Nui.
Mhm.
She like scrapes a piece off and carries it with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she's like talking to, well, actually she's talking to the whole
She's
seal,
in
right?
telepathic communication somewhat with Makuta the whole time.
Okay.
So it's not that big of a deal. So they're all the Toa are taken to Ga Metru, and they realize, they're like, oh wow, we're a bunch of giant monstrous looking freaks, for lack of a better term. And Mattel is the one who has the most visceral reaction. He's like, look at me, I'm hideous.
Because he's used to being beautiful.
Yeah,
because
apparently.
apparently yeah.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he starts going off on Vakama. And so Vakama is just like taking it all. And he's like, you know what? I'm done making plans. I don't care about you guys. And so he's just mad a little bit. But then the Rahaga are like, we need to tell you something. Oh yeah, the Toa are like, we need to save them, Toran. We can't wallow about and whatever. And the Rahaga are like, but wait, there's a legendary Rahi called Kitangu who can totally cure all the poison and make you work well. And they're like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. But then the other Rahaga are like, nah, he doesn't exist.
Rip.
Yeah. And it's like, what a bummer. So then they take the time to introduce all of the other Rahaga by name, even though you'll only see two of them really later on. It's Gaki and Norik, who are the main Rahaga you interact with. So I'm like, why did you feel that was necessary?
Which is, again, such a shame because the Rahaga really are one of the best parts of the whole
Yeah,
movie.
I do like the Rahaga when we get to see them in the books and comics. And it's even weird too, because they give the Rahaga and how they move separate personalities. Because like Pooks is like spinning around and like spins on the floor a little bit, right? And so I'm like, why'd you take... It's just weird how much effort went into the little things when they don't matter at all.
I don't think that... I think that was Aruni.
Oh, it might have been a Rooney.
Yeah, it was a
Rooney or
Rooney.
Pooks, yeah.
It was a Rooney because I remember thinking that. I was like, that doesn't seem like a Rooney behavior.
No, it's not how he's characterized
It's
in the
very
books
goofy.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just very strange, but it made me like the Rahaga more. I'm like,
Yeah.
see, there's
Yeah.
'Cause
more
they had
to these.
character
Yeah.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah. But Vakama's like, I don't care about no fancy mythical Ki Tongu guy. I want to go save the Matoran. It's like, that's our goal, not chasing fairy tales. And so he storms away. Yeah, I was doing a crazy finger wag in real life.
I thought you were gonna start like rapping or something. Ain't no chasing no fairy tales.
For our viewers, Thomas waved his finger at that point in a very strange way.
Very sassy manner.
Yes. Sure, we'll go with sassy.
Yes. So then Norik's like, oh, I'll go talk to Vakama, guys. Don't worry. Right? So he goes off and he talks to Vakama. And this is where Vakama's walking away. And he seems to stumble upon what looks like an ash bear, like from Mask of Light.
Yeah.
But it's not an ash bear. It's just a muwaka, which is like the panther things from Metru Nui. But it looks like a bear. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
That was like a 3-second scene. It was so short.
Yeah, because the muwaka just goes up. He's like, grrr.
And then they're like,
yeah.
bye.
And then Vakama's like, grrr. And then just runs away.
I don't really understand that part. Like, was there supposed to be subtle messaging, or was it just like, oh, look, the Rahi got out of the archives and here's one?
So in the novelization, the muwaka shows up and Vakama's like, oh man, how am I going to scare it off? But then it roars and he instinctively roars back. He's like, what the heck was that? And the muwaka flees. So it was a cool moment in the book. He's like, oh man, I really am a monster.
Yeah.
I have these instincts inside of me. But in the movie, I was just like, this seems like a non sequitur, and it's weird that they included it. So then Norik follows him. He's like, you need to learn all about your new powers that you have. Even though most of their powers are just straight downgrades.
Right.
Well, you still need to learn about
Yeah,
them.
you still need to learn it.
Connect with the beast inside.
Yeah. And
Isn't
he's
that
like,
what they say? Something like that?
I don't remember.
It was something similar. Make peace with the beast or something like that.
Peace with the beast.
That sounded like it rhymed a little too much for what they were
Make
trying
beauty
to say.
with the beast. I don't know. And then he also says that the 3 virtues, he's like, focus on those, Vakama. Because he did some speech leading up to it that incorporated the 3 virtues.
Yeah, and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good speech.
I'll
It's a
see
lot
if I
better than
can find it.
Makuda's introduction of the rock.
Yeah, I will poison their destiny. I will disintegrate their unity, and I will fragmentate their duty.
Oh man, that was such a cringe speech.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah,
just
I
the way
liked
it's
it too. It
delivered.
was just
But back to this movie,
Yeah.
Vakama hears this whole sick speech, and he's like, I don't care, bro. The 3 virtues are losers. And then he walks away even more. And Norik's like, I'm not going after him this time. Who cares, bro?
Meanwhile, the other Toa are like, we're gonna go look for Kitongu. who
Without Vakama.
probably doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're gonna do it anyway because we want to be not ugly anymore, I guess, or something. It's actually kind of unclear why they decide to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They just do. So
So they all go off and leave. Don't care if Vakama's following them at all.
right, like it's like not even mentioned. Or
Yeah.
like it's like very briefly mentioned, and it's
They're
like,
just like, okay, let's do this, and they're
Yeah.
gone. It's
So weird.
It was bizarre. It's like your parents leaving you on a road trip. It's like, hello,
Yeah.
guys.
that part. Like seriously though, that part weirded me out so much because I was like, they're not gonna comment on the fact that Vakama's not there at all.
Yeah, it felt very bizarre.
Yeah.
Another other Rahaga commented, even though Norik is with them.
Right.
So it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And then Vakama's brooding
Mm-hmm.
by himself, and he's all like, and then
He's more moping than he is brooding.
yeah, that's true. He's moping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he gets ambushed. I forget exactly what happens.
He's just
there.
walking around and a bunch of Visorak ambush him. And he can't
yeah.
take him out.
That's right.
So he just gets captured. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna die, kind of thing.
And then he gets taken to
Mm-hmm.
everyone's favorite character,
Sidorak, baby. No.
Rudaka.
Rudaka. And
The
this is where
woman,
the
the myth,
movie
the
hits
legend.
into gear number 2.
Gear number 2.
Yeah.
This is a 5-speed, just so you guys
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So, so Rudaka is like, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. And then Vakama's like, say no more. I'm in.
Well, actually, she gets Visorak to jump off a cliff or a ledge.
That's true.
Yeah. So what happens is he's captured and she's like, I have a cool offer I think you'll like. He's like, I don't care. She's like, are you sure? He's like, Well, let me hear it first, okay? So then she goes up, she's like, Visorak, jump off a cliff for me. And they're like, yay! And they all jump off a cliff.
And somehow that convinces him to follow her because clearly she's a very good leader who cares about her subjects.
Yeah, and Thomas, can you explain what happens in the book versus the movie and how the, like...
In the movie, they just jump off and it's framed like they just straight up die. In the book, they jump off and there's like a ledge like 20 feet below, so they all survive. Right, which kind of gives the implications like, okay, they follow her because they know that she's doing what's best for the horde.
She says something along the lines of like obedience being rewarded, right?
Yeah,
or something to that effect.
So in the movie, she says that the Visorak fear her and thus obey her. They respect her out of fear, and unlike Vekama's teammates who don't respect him and don't follow him at all. In the book, she says similar stuff, but also with like a respect aspect to the Visorak, which is why they follow her as well. And in the book, you get multiple Visorak perspectives where like there's clearly two camps, people that like Rahaga and Visorak that like Sidorak, right? Mm-hmm. So there's more inclination of like you need to not just kill them indiscriminately in the book because they're intelligent beings who can make their own choices on who to follow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've always really wanted to know, when they were writing the script for the movie, did Greg already, like, did he have the story written and they adapted the script based off of his story, or did he adapt the book based off of the movie
I believe he novelizes
script?
Based on the scripts, because I think the script writing team is pretty separate from Greg.
I was wondering about that because I was like,
but of course they're all Greg collectively.
Right, everyone is Greg.
Yes.
They're all Greg. All hail Greg.
Yep.
But I just think it's interesting because he definitely has like a knack for
who?
Greg.
Oh, of course.
The only
real
Greg.
Small G Greg.
Yeah. Small G Greg. No, but he definitely has like a knack for including a level of intelligence in the things that he writes. Like there's an element of like forethought that you don't really see in most children's media. You know, like it has like this like stuff like that where it's like, you know, he thought through the implications of something.
Yeah, I'd say Greg is very good at small logical follow through, right? It's like if a character has this sort of power and they're fighting someone with this sort of power, what would they logically do to engage and what would they adapt to? It's like, okay, that all follows through, right? So if Rahaga wants to show loyalty to the Visorak, but also doesn't want them like to betray her, this is a great way to showcase her skills, and them surviving also showcases to the other Visorak that they should obey her because it's only going to be good things.
Yeah.
Right. So I like the book version much better.
Well, and a lot of people have commented that this was like Greg's least favorite movie because he had a lot of problems with the production and just how they chose to write it. I can't remember. It makes sense that the book would be better because he would have at least had some sort of control over it.
Yeah, I think overall I like the movie as well as I like the novelization. I think a little more because the action is more
tangible.
Yeah, more tangible. But for the first two movies, I massively prefer the novelizations.
One thing to note is that like all this is done as sort of like a subtle dig at Sidorak, or not a dig, but like a subtle show of power. Rahaga does not care about Sidorak at all.
Yeah. And the whole thing is like he's like they're engaged, right? Even though I don't.
How does that even work in Bionicle?
Never brought up again if anyone ever possibly being married in the Bionicle universe. So it's
in the novelization too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's canon.
It's canon.
100% canon.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I feel like if you were going to justify it, you would justify it by saying like marriage in like the two kingdoms joining forces sense, like traditional,
and that's
like
what
medieval.
Greg has retconned it
yeah,
as.
that's essentially what it is, right? Like it's
it's a
like,
political marriage.
Yeah, and it's also like the closest human thing we have to explain what that would be like or what that would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I like to think about it, and it makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Because like these two would never get married.
Yeah, it's not romantic at all.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Romantic love is dead and Rahaga killed it. Just
Wouldn't
like the
be the
Visorak.
first thing she killed.
Yeah. So yeah, when Rahaga is saying all this, it's both with the implication of like, join me, Vekama, look how cool and respected you'll be. People will actually listen to you and not judge you. And also like, yeah, but Sidorak's kind of a loser. He can't do this, right?
And then Vakama's like, say no more. And then his eyes turn green.
He doesn't do that yet. Takes a little bit longer. There's a lot of back and forth between where the scenes switch. So while this is going on, it's cutting back to the other Toa who are going to the Great Temple so they can look up a translation of where Kitangu should theoretically be. And they wait outside the temple while the Rahaga go into the temple, right?
Yeah, and we mentioned the reason for this in the last episode is that there's like this feeling that they have that they shouldn't be in the Great Temple.
Yeah, it literally says Matanui's presence like repels forces of destruction.
The weird part about that to me is that in the last episode we talked about this, how Nokama goes in with Gaki anyway in the book. And so it's really strange to me that this time she doesn't go in and acts like she's never felt this before.
Yeah, that's again a weird compression of the movie. But in the movie, they don't say it's because of that spiritual pressure.
Yeah,
they just say because the temple's sacred. We don't want to go in looking like this. And
but like, the implication is definitely there based off of what has already been written in the books.
Yeah.
Can I also just say I really like the design of the Great Temple in this movie?
I think it's a pretty good design. It's the same as it was in Legends of Metru Nui.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The lighting was just much better.
Yeah. You get to see more of it. And it's kind of destroyed, but it still looks cool.
Yeah. So then it hops back to Rudaka. And this is a scene in the book, because this is where in the movie his eyes turns green and he's like, yeah, I'll join you, Rudaka, because she keeps monologuing to him. But in the book, his rationalization is like this. He's like, well, if I join, I'll get all of this power and stuff, and I'll get, the respect and whatever. But then I can use that power to save Toa Metru, to save the Matoran, and save the other Toa, right? He's like, if I'm made field commander, I can just do all that. Who's going to stop me, right? The Visorak will follow me, right? And so that's his rationalization going into it.
He's literally just Anakin at this point.
Yeah, no, literally.
It's like, we can overthrow the Emperor. And it's like, okay, sure.
Yep.
You were supposed to bring balance to the Toa.
Not destroy them. Yeah. So that's when Vakama's eyes turn green. He's like, yes, I will join you. Hee. But in the movie, he's just like, is played off like he's totally convinced and ready to be evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then this movie has a weird problem with time, because since they cut between scenes so often and everything seems to happen in such a short span, it then goes from that scene to night at the Great Temple, and Vakama is in the Great Temple attacking the Rahaga.
Yeah.
So it's like, was he convinced in like 5 seconds? Because how the movie seems to do it is that Vakama walks off. He gets captured. He wakes up a short time later, right? Because you're not unconscious for that long. Rudaka convinces him to join in the space of 2 conversations, which happen sequentially, right? And then he goes and he fights the Rahaga, who have all gone to the Great Temple and waited till night. So like all of this is presumably happening in like a day.
Couple of hours.
Yeah, a couple of hours most likely. So it's just very bizarre to think about. Like, you're going from normal upstanding Toa to I'm going to attack this old guy in like 5 seconds.
It is weird. The time is so bizarre.
Yeah.
And so Norik's in the Great Temple, then he hears like a voice talking to him, and he's like, who is that? And then he figures out that it's Vakama, and he's talking to him, trying to convince him, like, don't do this, you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I love
your
Norik's voice.
Yeah, he has a really cool voice.
It's really funny.
Even when he's like trapped under a bunch of rubble, he still just sounds very like genial.
Yeah. He's like a friendly old guy voice.
Yeah. So, but then, obviously that doesn't work, and Vakama still attacks them all.
And I will say in the book, it's more explicit, but the events happen the same. He goes down underneath and he's like, Gaki, I think you're having a rough time. Why don't you go take like a nap upstairs, right? Because in the book, he saw a shadow go down into the basement where Gaki's translating, and so he gets her out of there so he'll face it alone. I'm like, okay, that's kind of a cool heroic thing.
Yeah.
And then when he's talking to Vakama, there's one thing he says where he's like, the other Toa needs you, right? And then he looks bad. He's like, oh, dang, that probably wasn't the right thing to say. And in the book, it literally says as soon as he said it, he knew it was the wrong thing to say. And that's when Vakama pounces on him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's a cool bit of character.
The more
writing.
I learn, the more I learn about the Rahaga, the more I'm like, we need a Toa Haga story so bad, because they would be such a cool team Like, I feel like of all of the Toa, they would be like the most just like purely heroic. You know, like
Like-
they just have like these just like very like knight on white horse kind of vibes to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Norik, but
Norik, yeah.
yeah.
Norik and Rooney are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so in the morning, the Toa go back to check on the Rahaga, and the temple's just on fire. And it's like, you guys didn't see that
All
at night?
Yeah, right? Like, you couldn't see the flames.
Yeah.
I just wait a second.
Jedi Temple vibes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Vakama says, "I'll take the power. I can overthrow the Emperor."
He's seduced by a Dark Lord.
Yeah, immediately goes and attacks the Great Temple, a temple, sets it on fire.
In an island that is a complete cityscape.
Nah, that's true.
Yep.
And then the opposing forces see smoke coming out of it, and they're like, "We better go check that out."
But they never had democracy ever, so
this
it
also
doesn't die.
came out the same year as Revenge of the
No
Sith.
way.
Yeah.
George Lucas
Crazy.
copied from Greg.
I told you it was written and directed by George Lucas.
Girl. What? I was trying to mix Greg and George, and I came up with girl somehow.
Girl. Hey, girl.
I have no idea.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so they go in and find all of the Rahaga. Like, they're all
No,
in
they just
there,
find
right?
Norik.
They just find Norik.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Because
all
he's the only one
trapped
that's
under
left.
the.
Because Vakama took the other ones.
Yeah. What happened is they go into the temple and they find Norik trapped in rubble.
Oh,
and
it's
Norik was the only
Norik,
one
the
left
one
to
that's
tell the
trapped in the
message.
rubble.
And all the other Rahaga get kidnapped and brought to the Colosseum.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
Mhm.
Come on, man. Get with
I
No,
couldn't
I'm just
remember
kidding.
who was trapped under the rubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always Norik. Just assume it's Norik.
Norik's the main Rahaga character, so he gets the most screen time.
Likan Part 2.
Yeah.
So Vakama captured the other Rahaga and he takes them back to Sidorak.
Which also has a Star Wars reference in it. Because when he goes to the gate, the little telescope eye
I
pops
didn't
out
remember that at
and
all.
talks to him.
Man, I must have zoned out for this
We pointed
part.
it out while we were watching. We're like, this is just like Star Wars.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And basically the idea was Rudaka wanted him to go capture the Rahaga to bring them back to Sidorak to convince Sidorak to let him be the horde leader, right?
Yeah, because Rudaka didn't let Sidorak know that Vakama was captured, and so she let him loose to go bring the other Rahaga and Toa back.
Yeah. So he does show up with the Rahaga, and Sidorak is convinced. He's like,
Yeah, because he starts
okay.
off, he's like, why would I let a Toa in here? Vakama just drags in all the Rahaga in a rope, and he's like, oh.
So I don't know if at that point I don't think he's made the field commander yet, but Sidorak embraces him at least. Then the other Toa. So while they're in the Great Temple, right, they find. Wait, how does that
So
go?
what happened was the part Gaki had already translated, she told to Norik.
That's right. Okay, it's like a part of a
It says that
message to direct them towards.
Yeah, it's
Kitangu.
directions toward Kitangu. It says he's found where the stream of tears like flows upwards or something.
Yeah, what was that supposed to be a reference to? Because I couldn't figure it out from the context of the movie.
Yeah, in the context of the movie, it just doesn't.
It's just a waterfall.
Well, it's not a waterfall. It's going upwards. It's like propelled by water.
So the actual line is follow the falling tears to Toa Metru until they reach the sky.
Yeah, I did not get that from the movie.
Yeah. So what happens?
Like you didn't understand it?
No, I just when they show the place, it's like
it just
doesn't
seems like a
seem-
normal ice
yeah.
tower.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, that doesn't make sense until like Thomas will explain what it is.
Yeah. So in the
book.
novelization, they're going through and they're journeying all across Metru Nui, right? And they get dumped into a canal and they swim down further. And none of the canals are moving particularly fast because Metru Nui is kind of shut down. But they get caught in a very deep understream current that is like said to be like powered by ancient stuff that the normal Metruans weren't using. And that shoots them all throughout a secret pipe that eventually is broken and juts off to where it shoots into the air in Toa Metru, freezing. So they all get shot out of that pipe into where Kitangu is, and that's the stream of tears going upwards.
So the broken pipe is the stream of tears.
Well, no. The stream of tears is from the Great Temple where there's like the mask or the face looking sculptures. I don't know, cutouts, whatever. The water, there's waterfalls coming down the side of the Great Temple, and they come out of the eyes. And so that's where it's like why they're tears. So they follow that water into the canal.
I just did not get that from the context of the movie.
It's not well explained in the movie.
There's no mystery to it. Like, they just end up doing it 5 seconds later. So there's no point.
And that whole sequence is so funny because it's like, oh, wow, okay, they're going to go on a journey, right?
And then it's like no, it's like an Indiana Jones map
where they, like, show the map of Metru Nui and then, like, showing
I was just imagining
progress bar.
The other funny part is they're like, we went on there were many perilous adventures and whatever.
They don't show any of them.
They don't show any. And Metru Nui is, like, 7 miles wide, like at its widest. So it's like
you could walk that in
it's a day. And if you're Toa, you can run there in
and they
like
could have
an hour.
at least shown clips of things that they encountered or something.
Well,
they
do show like a few
it's like
very select clips, but they're like
it's like a fading montage. One of them is them just walking across a bridge. It's like wow. Thrillsville. Because in the book, in the novelization, that's a whole scene where they have a fight on the bridge and stuff. But in this is just like, nope.
I'm such a sucker for fights on bridges.
You just like Kung Fu Panda.
Or Samurai Jack, where there's literally a giant, a whole episode that takes place on a bridge. Exoforce? Oh, that's true.
That's a good point.
I'm just saying.
I'm a sucker for bridge fights too.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Speaking of Indiana Jones.
Also, that scene in Revenge of the Sith with Ki-Adi-Mundi on the bridge.
Good point.
That's a great scene.
Bridges are a great place for fights. An Amazing Spider-Man, I think. Is that the one that has where he fights on
and the car gets thrown off. Yeah. Good point.
Bridges are just great places to have battles.
It's true.
Yep. Anyway, where were we? They just found Kitongu at the end of the Stream of Tears.
Yeah.
Kitongu the goat.
So there's a whole exchange with Kitongu because he like rises from the ice and they're all like, oh, Kitongu.
Yeah.
You know, and
like they're
he's
just walking through
after all.
They're just walking through his place and then he just rises up out of like a puddle of water in the middle of it.
And I can't remember.
Bro was having a bath and they interrupted him.
Kitongu's actually naked the whole time.
The thing is, you just can't tell.
Does Norik? Is he the one who's like explaining that Kitongu is bound by the 3 virtues?
Mm-hmm. And because Norik's the only Rahaga there.
Yeah, I guess that, and he's the only one who seems to understand Kitongu.
Because all the Rahaga know Rahi languages.
Oh, okay. Like Norik's translating for Kitongu and also just kind of explaining some general information that he seems to know about Kitongu.
I don't know where he got all this stuff about Kitongu. It's like, you didn't even know he existed, bro.
But basically he tells them like, hey, you can't, like Kitongu can't initiate battles. It's against his being.
In Norik's defense, he didn't know that Kitongu existed, but they always knew that there was a legend of Kitongu. So he would have known all the legendary things about Kitongu.
Yeah, but he's saying this with such certainty when he could just ask Kitongu right there. He's like, is this true? Like, fact check me if I'm wrong.
Fair enough. I'll give you that, but still.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're talking to Kitongu, and Norik says that Kitongu is saying, you can't save, but like, I'm not going to transform you back into your Toa selves. You have to stay as the Hordica to save Vakama.
Which I thought was really stupid because the Hordica are just like mostly downgrades in power. And then I thought about it a little more. I'm like, I'll get to it when we get to the 3rd act, but save that, put a pin in that thought.
Okay. I will come back to that because I do want to know what you're thinking there. Anyway, but he does say he'll help them. Like if they want to go try to save Vakama, he'll come with them.
Yeah, he can't initiate battles, but if one's happening, he'll be right there.
Right. So at that point, it switches back to Rudaka and Sidorak, and Rudaka is explaining to Sidorak that Vakama is her engagement gift to Sidorak. And so then at that point...
she's saying this whole thing with a very strong wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're going to overthrow you.
Yeah. It's like very weird,
not
actually.
subtle at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I do like, those Sidorak's like, why do I care about one Toa coming to my side? And she's like, well, there's 5 more. Like, we can just lure them in here, and then you'd have 6. And he's like, oh.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, Sidorak isn't portrayed as stupid in this movie. Again,
But
like,
he's certainly not portrayed as intelligent.
But he's not, like, the brightest ever.
I really actually do not like the way Sidorak is portrayed in the movie.
I agree, but, like, he's not... I have to be a Sidorak defender because people always put him on, like, the same level as Kreka.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's not that dumb.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I don't like the movie portrayal of him. He should not be that dumb, but it does seem like he's that dumb based off of the decisions he makes. And it's like, dude, like, this is supposed to be a fairly intelligent character.
Like, they give him the personality of, like, a very insecure, like, middle-aged guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy has conquered, like, tons of islands, leads the entire horde, presumably for a reason. Why is anyone following him if he's just a complete loser who relies entirely on Rahaga to get anything done? Like, it is so incongruent with everything we're told about him.
Yeah, I also feel like, I guess if you could put it in terms of intelligence versus cunning, Sidorak is, like, intelligent. He's smart. He's strategic. Rahaga is cunning. And sly, you know, like she's very underhanded in all of her methods, whereas Sidorak is very plain about everything that he does. Like he doesn't hide anything; it's all on the table all the time.
Yeah,
which is why, of course, Rahaga ultimately wins. But.
Yeah, but I also think it would be better because Rahaga also has really cool fight scenes where she shows she's confident and competent and powerful. In a normal fight as well. She's not just all soft power.
Yeah.
Whereas with Sidorak, he's supposed to be all hard power, you know, pure force and strength, but he never gets any fight scenes.
Right.
And every time he's anywhere near combat, he loses.
Right.
So it's like, I can't believe anything about you as a positive because all you do is fail.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
is that the case in the book too?
He never gets any positive showing of anything he ever does. It's very
Justice
sad.
for Sidorak.
Yeah.
After that, once she presents Vakama to him and has this whole conversation about engagement gifts, then Sidorak's like, okay, I'll make him field commander. You're in charge of the horde now.
Anything for you, my queen.
Yeah.
New Gunray voice.
After this, he shows Vakama all the hordes, and it's like out. Is it in the Coliseum?
Yeah, it's at the top of the Coliseum. In the
and
field.
I mean, it's
a lot of Visorak.
It's a lot of Visorak.
So it's quite impressive.
Someday I wish to have that many Lego Visorak so I could just...
Yeah, and we also see kind of Rahaga again scheming in the background, being like,
plotting
things are
and scheming.
finally changing.
Yeah.
And they also have the Rahaga strung up as bait, I guess, for the other Toa to come
literally
get them.
like hanging off the side of the Coliseum.
They're like, come get me.
Yeah. Pretty funny.
Definitely not suspicious at all. Like, that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if the Toa are going to walk in, they're definitely going to sense a trap. But, you know.
Well, they know it's a trap. They know the Rahaga have been kidnapped. They know Vakama's a
I
traitor.
guess that's true.
This is Sidorak's plan for how to get the other Toa. Because it's run by him, right?
Yeah.
So he's just like, yeah.
Overwhelming force.
Yeah, exactly. Which I will say, I'll defend the overwhelming force tactic. If you win with overwhelming force, that's a win.
Yeah.
No need to get more complicated with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And had things not gone askew, he probably would have won.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he was losing. Like, the Toa, even before...
We'll get to it, I suppose, right?
Yeah,
I guess the
so.
issue with the overwhelming force strategy is that there's no wiggle room.
Yeah.
Because if you lose, you just have lost.
Yeah. Anything that can counter you will have no defense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was such a weird cut in the movie because we see the other Toa talking to Kitangu, and he's like, I'll help you, right? And then the next thing we see of them is them just like stomping into the Coliseum. And you're like, okay, that was abrupt.
So this is like a little more than halfway through the movie. And this is pretty much where I classify the third act as starting, if this was like a traditional movie.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the movie shifts up to like fourth gear, you know?
Yeah.
And
this is where the movie actually really gets enjoyable, honestly.
It feels more like a movie. Now, Because, like, they all storm into the Coliseum, and it's just as abrupt in the novelization as it is in the movie. Like, they just talk to Kitangu, and then they're storming the Coliseum. It's like, okay. I'm not sure how that works exactly. But they all make a plan, like, off-screen for some reason. You can go back to narrating, sorry.
No, it's probably one of those, we have to hide the plan from the audience scenarios.
Yeah, but the plan only has one component to it. So,
right.
And it goes wrong. So, like, I'm not sure.
Well, that's not entirely true.
It doesn't go
The way
successfully
they expected.
enough to win.
Yeah.
Straight up. So, like, it doesn't really seem necessary to hide.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, basically, the Toa walk into the Coliseum, and Vakama springs the trap.
Star Wars reference?
Revenge of the
Another
Sith
Revenge
reference
of the Sith
specifically.
Greg was totally watching Revenge of the Sith, bro.
Yeah, because they burst in and Vakama's like, you can't save anyone. The only thing you can save is yourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're like, no.
How about no?
So then they, like, all the Visorak are swarming them, and Nakama's like, wait, and they're like, now?
Because they
It's
just
like,
had their
wait.
Rotuka spinners charged up.
Yeah. It's
right.
like, now? And she's like, wait.
Yeah.
And then the Visorak are just about to grab them, and then they're like, now. And they, instead of shooting the Rotuka spinners, they
At
like
someone.
at someone, they shoot them and grab onto them with their Toa tools.
Yes.
And it pulls them, like, it makes them fly essentially up to where they were aiming. And so then they get to higher ground. And then they looked down at the Visorak and said, don't try it, Visorak. We have the high ground.
And the Visorak were like, you underestimate my powers.
Yeah. So it's a weird plan because that's the only like part of their plan, like
Yeah.
to escape
Like,
all the
that's
Visorak
it.
on the ground. Yeah, that's the
It.
whole plan. It's like to shoot up and try to get Vakama, Rudaka, and Sidorak.
Which is such a, well, yeah, and it's such a weird plan because it's like they've seen the Visorak just climb straight up walls, you know?
Well, and it's even
not
weirder-
like it's such a deterrent to just get to a higher
Yeah.
location.
And it's even stranger because have we seen a Rotuka be fired by Toa in the whole movie up to this point?
I don't remember,
Because
actually.
I don't know if they had. Even if they
Vakama tries, and then his Rotuka breaks because he gets attacked by the Visorak.
That's right. And it's even stranger because you never see them interact with their Rotuka with their tools. Because in the books and comics, they can have a Rotuka and fire it and then grab it with their tools and charge it up to make it more powerful. So without that context, you just see them shoot the Rotuka, grab onto it with the tool, and fly. Like just straight up. And it's like, what? like if you had no context, what would you think is happening?
I have no clue, actually.
Yeah.
If you had no context for what?
What a Rotuka spinner is, or how their
Oh,
tools
yeah.
can make them fly with it.
I have no idea.
Yeah, because you'd never seen them fly before this, and you'd never really seen what a Rotuka spinner can do. So it'd be like, I don't know what the plan is because I don't know what's happening.
Man, it's so weird because, like, that could have been so easily remedied.
Mhm.
Like, early on when they didn't know what the Rotuka was, like, Matau or someone who's careless could have accidentally fired it, and one of them could have caught onto
That
it
would've
with
been cool.
with their tool, and it, like, yanks them along, and they, like, let go, and the tool flies off, and the Rotuka goes,
Yeah.
blows
Or you
something
could have
up.
had even if you don't want to do that intense, just have the Rahaga teach them a little bit about Rotuka spinners.
Yeah, true.
Have the Rahaga shoot their Rotuka at the others and see if like they can block it or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you can physically interact with Rotuka spinners. So it's like that would have at least given you something for this payoff. But instead, it's only a payoff if like you read the books,
Yeah.
right? Because if not, you're just like, what?
It's very weird.
Yeah, it's a bizarre plan. Like effective, and with the context, it's like okay, that's a fine enough plan, right? But without it,
So I have a question because this wasn't clear to me. Was their plan to try to get up to Sidorak and Rudaka and Vakama, or were they just trying to distract?
unclear.
Okay.
I'm guessing it was to get up to the main three because that's how you'd stop the horde and/or convince Vakama to turn back to the light.
Yeah.
But they could have also just been trying to grab the Rahaga and run.
Yeah. But at this point, as they're like trying to jump, or as they're jumping around trying to dodge the Visorak, you hear like, well, I guess it's from Sidorak and Rudaka's perspective, and you hear like a
Yeah, because the Toa didn't get high enough to get all the way to the tower. Matau
Yeah.
got the closest, And so the other four fell to a ledge and are getting swarmed.
Yeah, I guess we should have specified that they are in the tower looking down on the Coliseum.
Like the little box that Duma rides up and down.
in.
That's where they were shooting.
So, anyway, there's like this shaking and loud thumping noise, and they look down, and you just see Kitongu like punching into. He has tools.
He's
right?
using his pickaxe.
Okay, yeah. So he's like just punching into the side of the Coliseum, and then like pulling himself up, and then doing it again, and just
like a total beast.
Yeah, it is actually a very cool
It's super cool. It's super menacing.
And so he's climbing up the back of the Coliseum, and Rudaka and Sidorak are like, well, we gotta go take him out. And so they leave Vakama behind, and they're shooting at Kitongu, and he, like, I don't remember, I guess it was a Visorak web, right? He, like, grabs a Visorak web and, like, swings all the way around. Yeah, and it's quite cool, too.
Because Sidorak's, like, shooting bolts at him, and he's about to hit him, and then Kitongu just pulls a Spider-Man and swings halfway around the tower.
But inevitably, Sidorak does actually, or Rudaka.
Rudaka takes over and she's like, I'll shoot him now. Right. And then she just hits him straight on first time.
And so it sends him flying down into where all the Visorak and Toa are at the bottom of, top of the Coliseum, but bottom of the tower. And he just like smashes into the ground, leaving a giant crater.
And it literally has like an explosion effect.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, he's short circuiting or, he's crumpled. It's like, he exploded.
And it sent like all the pillars that the Colosseum floor is made out of, like radiate out in a wave where he hits the crater. It gives the impression like he's dead, like Gonzo.
But we all know Kitongu cannot die.
Yeah, because he's the Kitong goat.
Yeah, he is. The worst part about it, I think, is the fact that he spent all that time climbing the tower. And it's just like...
Yeah.
It's very Sisyphus. Poor guy.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Matau, and he climbs up a little bit, and he gets to Vakama. And so he's like, Vakama, turn back to the light. We need you. And Vakama's like,
you were my brother, Vakama. I loved you.
You were meant to help the Toa, not destroy them.
Samuel, put a Revenge of the Sith reference counter up on the corner.
Seriously.
This is the fourth one, I think.
mean, the parallels are actually kind of insane.
It's kind of true, yeah.
Yeah. George Lucas ripped off Greg. I'll stand by that.
Even though this movie came out after Revenge of the Sith was released.
The script come out after?
Well... No, probably not. But it's hard to know how long it takes Greg to write a book based off of a movie.
We don't actually think George Lucas ripped off Greg first.
No. I'm just
But the script was probably written beforehand, maybe a year beforehand, because it takes like a year to produce a movie, right? And you may say, wait, the Revenge of the Sith was in production before. But Revenge of the Sith has many deleted scenes and drafts. Whereas we've never seen even one deleted scene or draft of this script. So this came down from heaven, fully formed, the Web of Shadows script, and George Lucas caught a glimpse of it. He's like, I'm stealing all that. And he wrote it down and he wrote it down 5 seconds before Revenge of the Sith went to theaters. That's what happened, folks. That is the truth.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyway, continue. Matau.
Yeah. So Matau is talking to him, and he's like, come back to light and, help us. And Vakama's like, it's always about you, isn't it? Never about me. And Matau's like, he's right. It is about me. So that was the wrong thing to say. And Vakama knocks him off to the side. So Matau's hanging on by one finger. He's swaying in the wind. And then Vakama's about to, step on his foot or whatever.
This is Sparta.
Yeah.
Or no, more of a Mufasa.
Yeah, a Mufasa thing. Yeah. That's pretty... I think that's what they're trying to call back to. And then Matau gives this whole heartfelt speech about how weak they are, how weak all of them are when they're apart, and only Vakama could be a leader to the Toa Metru. It's an okay speech. I didn't find it compelling enough to be like, oh yeah, that would convince him. I just found it like, if you hadn't done all the stuff to him that you did beforehand, it would come off as a lot more sincere. Like, I hadn't seen the growth in Matau. I hadn't seen the growth in the relationship to really buy this moment. But the thing he does after that, I believe, is really cool, because Vakama's wavering, right? But he's about to crush his foot. And then Matau pushes off the edge and starts plummeting into freefall, which makes Vakama have a choice. He's like, do I save my friend or do I let him die? Because I can't kill him out of anger now. He's going to die by his own cause. And I'm like, okay, that's a good way to force him into action.
Yeah.
So then Vakama goes down and saves him, and he's on the side of good again. Yay! All you need to turn Vakama from good to evil is one speech, one way or the other.
That's true.
And to fall off the edge. That's a vital component.
Yes.
If it's Visorak going off the edge, it's evil. If it's Matau going off the edge, it's good.
Somebody's got to fall off the edge.
Wait, so maybe the distinction is whatever alignment a person falls off an edge is what Vakama becomes.
Ah, there you go.
So really quickly, I'm reading the transcript of the movie because I was trying to remember what Matau said, because I thought that the Unity Duty Destiny thing came earlier when Norik was talking to Vakama, but it's actually here where Matau says it. So I'm just going to read the exchange really quickly. Matau's talking to Vakama and he says, I'm sorry for doubting you. Our strength comes from our unity, Vakama, which means you can't be strong without us. And then Vakama says, I'm better and stronger alone. And Matau says, I don't believe that, and I don't think you do either. You're our leader, Vakama. You're my leader. We've got a job to do, a duty. The Matoran. Rescuing them is our destiny. It's your destiny. And then he says, if there's any of the Vakama I know left, he'll know what to do next. Yeah. And then that's when he jumps off. Let's go. So
it sounds better written out, I think, or at least how you read it.
I think it's fine in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's functional in the movie. I don't know how.
It's
I
just
wouldn't
not
say
super
it's passable.
emotional.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds more emotional as you're reading it. Like, as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, this is, like you said, it's pretty good written out. But it doesn't come across that sincere in the movie.
Because Matau and Vakama have only interacted twice in the whole movie. One where he's berating him when they're cocooned, and maybe 3 times when they're talking all together as a group before they're captured. Then when he's cocooned, and then when they're transformed and he starts berating Vakama, and Vakama walks off.
Yeah.
That's the only times him and Matau walk. So you never see the growth of Matau being like, oh yeah, we are failing now that we don't have Vakama because we don't have a leader.
Yeah.
Right? Instead, it just seems like they go off, find Kitangu, and he's like, oh, I regret everything. Like, it doesn't come off as sincere because you haven't seen any drawbacks from it. In fact, you see only upsides because Nokama's the leader for the meantime, the interim leader. And the one plan she has is actually mildly successful, as opposed to how this movie portrays Vakama's one plan that was a complete and abject failure.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you stronger with Vakama? It seems unlikely. But anyway, I'm done ruining that moment.
Yeah, so at that point, Vakama's eyes turn back. They're no longer green.
Yeah.
Which, indicates he's good
He's
now.
good again, yeah.
I just love it. So I don't remember exactly how this part goes because Rudaka lets Sidorak go to beat up Kitangu.
So Rudaka and Sidorak go down to finish off Kitangu.
Okay.
Because he's lying in a crater, completely obliterated, and like, oh yeah, we're gonna kill him now. And so Sidorak is like, the last blow, as always, is yours. And then Rudaka's like, no, why don't you finish him off this time? And then she walks away all sassy like. And then for some reason, Kitangu just rises in the background, perfectly fine. And Sidorak's like, but I can't defeat him on my own.
Which is such a...
I know.
I hate this
part. It was
part.
so bizarre.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, so Rudaka was powerful enough to finish him off in one blow, presumably, because that's what he was letting her do. But he doesn't have similar levels of strength, even with his shoot lightning from his hand ability, to a severely weakened Kitangu.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yep.
So it's like, what is going on? And Kitangu's rising like the Grim Reaper in the background, and it's clearly implied he's gonna die. Then Sidorak's just like, Rudaka, and then whoop, blam, gets one-shotted into paste by Kitangu. And it's like, what a stupid end for that character. Like, I like the idea of Rudaka betraying him and letting him die by Kitangu. Like, that all logically tracks. The specific way it's executed makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, So Kitangu was totally fine. In the novelization, it's a tad better. It's a smidge better. Just a smoocheroo better. Because it said that Rudaka hit Kitangu with just enough power to leave him able to kill Sidorak, right? I don't know how she was able to know his exact power level and how much he needed to kill Sidorak.
For a mythical Rocky that even those spending their whole life, well, not their whole life, but their whole life as Rahaga looking for this creature couldn't find him.
Yeah.
She just knows right off the bat, like, oh, this is his power level.
She had like a Dragon Ball Z like power level scouter. She's like, he's only like 9,001. Right? Anyway, so... And then when Sidorak does it, she betrays him, right? And it's like, okay, it works a little better because it was her plan from the start rather than just a fluke Kitangu was powerful enough to do it. But it just leads to the other problem of how'd she know? And then the one cool thing that happens in the novelization from this is that it weakens most of the Visorak's faith in Rudaka because they're like, she would just kill and betray people in plain sight. Like, we don't really want to follow someone like that. Which is why when later on Vakama disbands the hordes, they're gone because they're like, we don't want to follow either of these people. They're psychos.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah, that's why it was weird watching the movie. I'm like, without the context, you'd be like, what? Because in the movie, the Visorak also don't seem intelligent at all. They just seem more like animals.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess if you follow that logic, it works fine.
At this point, the Toa are all there because Vakama brings Matau down. And they're all facing off against Rudaka. And she's just kind of like gloating at this point. And because really what she's trying to do is get them to attack her.
Well, first off, she comes in riding a gigantic Visorak.
That's true.
Which was a sick scene.
It's probably
cool.
One of the coolest scenes
in the whole movie. Definitely the best shots of the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, it like comes in, and then it lays down, and she just walks off of it. Yeah. And it's like, oh.
Very iconic. Anyway, and so she basically, the long and short of it is she provokes them into shooting their Rotuka spinners at her. Since shooting the Rotuka is like shooting their elemental power, I guess.
I mean, they are purely elemental power Rotukas.
So,
again, not explained in the movie.
Yeah, exactly, which is very confusing based off of what she says and needs in this next part. So they shoot at her and she just takes it because she has the little piece of the Makuta, the Toa seal.
And Toa seals can only be unlocked by all 6 elements that were used to create
Much like the ring, it has to be unforged by that would forged it.
Yep. The One Ring is what he's saying. Anyway.
Okay, yes. Samuel.
I'm just saying, for those of the, like, to start the sentence with much like the ring. I mean, yes, you could have said the One Ring or the Ring of Power, but the ring could refer to literally any ring in
He's talking
all
about
of
the
universe.
movie,
The movie, The
Oh,
Ring.
you're
but the
right.
Japanese version.
You're right. My bad.
Explicitly that version,
Yes.
yeah.
Because here in the US, that version is called the Circle.
Really?
No.
I'm like, what are you talking?
We both just looked at Samuel like, what?
Anyway, back to the Web of Shadows.
Anyway.
Rudaka's getting overloaded with elemental energy, and
Yes.
she's totally fine, like unfazed. Yeah, so she's like, oh, water, stone, earth, ice, fire. I have all the elements, but wait a second. She like seems to count. She's like, 1 is missing. Then Vakama pulls up, still pretending to be an evil guy with Matau. And he's like, here's the last element. Yarg. He's a pirate. I don't know why I change everyone's voices every time I imitate them.
You've never done pirate before.
I know. Like I said, it's just you don't know what voice you're gonna get for any rendition of the phrase I say.
I mean, I guess it keeps things interesting.
I don't know if it does. Maybe it just confuses people. Like Rotuga spinners being able to fly people on.
I suspect that's probably this entire podcast, so I wouldn't feel too bad.
Yeah. So then Matau shoots her, and so now all the Toa have shot her, and like that's the part where she's like, "Oh no, something's wrong," and she just like starts dying on screen, even though it's like, wasn't that your plan? Like, what'd you think was
Well, she
gonna
probably
happen?
didn't know.
Yeah.
exactly what was
even if she
gonna
didn't know
happen.
exactly what happened, why is she then goading out the sixth element that like, and then she seems to realize it's killing her. It's just weird. Once the sixth elemental spinner hits, she's like, and like she starts like dying, and then just like shadow hands erupt out of nowhere and just envelop her and then disappear. She's just gone like Houdini. It's like, okay, I guess she's dead.
Did Jet just die?
Yeah, it was very strange and unclear. What'd you guys think of that when you saw that?
I think she's dead.
Well, yeah, I think she's dead, but I didn't really know what to think other than like.
I mean, it's
she's
very
cooked.
clear what's happening.
Yeah, she's being defeated. But like,
Well, not just that. It's clear that like Makuta is like absorbing her.
yeah,
essence.
because the shadow hand is still the same.
Like
thing.
that's obvious because it's the same like iconography that they've used with Makuta
But
throughout.
it's very, very weird because the hands come out of the tiny piece of the Toa seal, right? Which is strange because the rest of the Toa seal has his physical body in it. So it's like, which is where we always saw the hands come out of, right? Was like this physical body. So it's like part of his essence is stored in this tiny fragment of Toa seal when his actual body is still contained in the Toa seal. It's like, I'm confused.
yeah, it's obviously
how
not
that
the
works.
shadow hand power. It's some sort of weird teleport another person power, but which the Makuta are never shown to have again. So I think it's more of just a plot convenience power than an actual like we thought
Yeah,
about.
it doesn't really make sense otherwise.
Those.
I would be fine if it was a plot convenience power, if it was an established plot convenience power, like Pit Mutagen, or Energized Protodermis, or Hortica Venom.
Or bringing someone back to life based on just their mask.
Yeah, or reconstituted at
true.
random disc. Any of those I would have been fine with, but no.
Or two characters being fused together and then being unfused after a door falls on them.
That was because of Energized Protodermis.
The unfusing after the door
No,
falls
them
on?
getting fused. The unfusing is because they died.
Yeah, fair.
If I fuse you and someone else, like I stitch you together, and then I drop a 2,000-pound rock on you, you don't die because you were stitched together. You died because you're dead. That analogy makes zero.
That literally did
zero
not make
sense.
any sense.
That's out of here. Gone. Anyway, Rudaka's dead, quote unquote. But then Makuta is released because all their 6 elemental powers hit the same piece of the Toa seal, therefore unsealing him, right? And then the battle's kind of over because Vakama's like, "Oh, you Visorak, be gone! I release you of your servitude. You were slaves." He's like a street preacher now, apparently.
So I've noticed.
Yeah. He's like, "You are free in Christ. Be gone." And so they all leave Metru Nui forever.
This is one of those times we wish we were recording the video of this as well.
It wouldn't matter though, because as we know, all of our viewers are blind anyway. So.
That's a good
It's
point. Our
true.
viewers are blind.
Yeah.
So all the Visorak are gone, and so now it's just all the Rahaga, Kitangu, and the Toa in the Colosseum. And they're like, "Kitangu, can you transform us?" Oh, I forgot to say. Yeah, because they're like, "Kitangu, can you transform us back?" He's like, "No, you're fine as you are." But yeah, I can do it. Okay, as a little treat, you can be Toa Metru again.
He does not say it like that, by the way, because he doesn't talk.
Yeah, he just does weird like, whoa,
he, like, runs.
and
Unless
Norik
it's
translates.
no.
Yeah, he does say no. Anyway, so I'm coming back to the point I made. So the reason I think they needed to be Hortica to take on the forces of the Visorak and save Vakama is because if they had all been turned back into Metru and Matau's trying to deliver that same speech to Vakama, it would be way less convincing. Because it'd be like, obviously you're doing fine without me. You got your old bodies back. You're powerful again. You're handsome again, apparently, right? He's like, Vakama would be like, "You left me in the dust. You didn't come back and save me with Kitangu." Like, he would feel even more betrayed than he was originally. So I'm like, if you look at it that way, I think there's a cool reason why they had to be Hortica to succeed where they did. That, along with the Rotuka spinners allowing them to fly and dodge all the Visorak.
True.
So I'm like, I think that works well enough for that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Can I just say that basically the exchange with Kitangu at the end goes, I assume it's Vakama talking. Vakama says, like, can you change us back? And Norik, translating for Kitangu, says he wants to know why you would want that, being as you've made peace with the beast within, that you might even be better for it. And then Vakama says, it's our destiny to be Toa and to keep our promise to the Matoran. And then Kitangu goes, and then Norik's like, then so you will be, and that's how they get transformed back.
So he says no and
There are a few other words that you can make out throughout the movie, especially when they first meet him, but they're always like single words.
Yeah. So then the Toa, I wrote in my notes Laos for some reason. Like, I don't know what Laotians have to do with any of this. And they all take the Marian spheres, I guess they're Catholic now, into the airships. The Laotians take the Catholic Church into the airship. Genius writing, Greg. Excellent note taking by Thomas once again. Bada bing, bada boom.
You know how at the end of Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when the aliens, like the saucer comes out and takes off, and you're like, where did that come from?
It came from Laos.
Greg was like, dude, I'm gonna one up that so hard.
Greg coming in the writing room last second. Catholic Laotians, put them in now.
That's Catholic with an uppercase C. Not to be confused with Greg lowercase G.
Yeah. But what I meant to say is the Toa then load all of the Matoran spheres into airships. So the Toa then load all the Matoran spheres into the airships, and they take all the Matoran to Metru Nui. But they're like, Vakama, aren't you scared now that Makuta's running free again? And he's like, for some reason, I'm not afraid of it anymore.
Because he's an idiot.
Yeah, it's like, no, you should be afraid still. Like, he's really powerful.
That's a really interesting comment going into Time Trap, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We'll talk about more in Time Trap, because Time Trap is such a weird relationship with this movie. Because how this movie ends is they're all flying off with the airships, right? So they can awaken the Matoran. Time Trap begins when they're halfway over the Great Sea, and Vakama's like, the mask of time! We forgot about the mask of time! And he jumps off the back of the airship into the sea.
What a legend. I just forgot the mask of time.
And he's like, and Makuta's free now too. Makuta wanted the mask of time. Oh no. It's like panic mode, like when you forget to like turn the oven off, but you're already like halfway gone.
I think Vakama might be bipolar.
Yeah. It was just so funny, like reading Time Trap and reading this, because I'm like, this is just weird to think about.
I love it.
I know. It was hilarious though. So yeah. So that's how the movie ends. And
then if you want to, I was going to say, then if you want to splice in the end of Legends of Metru Nui here, but as we just discussed, that's not really the last bit because all of Time Trap happens.
Yeah.
But then, the last bit of Legends of Metru Nui.
Where they go and they awaken all of the
Toa power to awaken
and
the
turn
Matoran.
into Rahaga.
Yep.
So that's how it ends. Any thoughts?
Well,
about
I
the
feel
movie
like
as a
we
whole?
gave
Yeah,
most
we
of
gave
our
them all at
thoughts
the
at the beginning.
I just want to say, going through some of it, refresh my memory. This movie has a weird tone problem because like they'll have humor in very strange moments. Like when Vakama's turning evil, he captures the Rahaga. Sidorak's taking him on a perusal through the whole tower, and it's played off as like a whole comedy bit with how Sidorak's like walking like a total dunce and like speaking like a sitcom dad or whatever, right? And it's like, okay, this is kind of bizarre for a guy who's supposed to be threatening in a situation where the main hero has just gone to the side of evil.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be like if Anakin turned to the dark side and then they had like a whole bit from like Star Wars Detours thrown in.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
And then he goes and raids the Jedi Temple. It'd be like, tone seems a little askew, but
I would watch that.
yeah. But then it does then it does humor well in some cases, like with Kitangu, where like Kitangu's just like, they're like, will you help us? And he's like, no. And it's like, okay, that's diegetic humor. Like, K-Tonga's just a funny dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was very weird because when we were watching it, you pointed out, Samuel, like the humor in this movie can be really misplaced.
Yeah. It's just a weird... It's weird because that movie could be so intense and so, like, moody and focused, and it's not in so many ways.
Yeah.
And it feels like a missed opportunity, albeit it was a kids movie. Like, they couldn't take it to the extreme that really should have gone to, I feel like, to be a way more compelling story. But it nonetheless, there are weirdly jarring moments where it's like, that did not need to be in there for a kids movie. Like, not that it was inappropriate, I'm just saying, like, those moments didn't have to be in there to, like, lift the mood or, like, change the tone, because it was fine how it was. And it's just weirdly, disjointed is a good way to describe it, I think.
Yeah. I did want to say, I think the animation, most of what made this such a pleasant watch was the animation. Like, it just looked really good. The lighting, the textures,
that's something
the
that we
atmosphere.
forgot to mention.
Yeah, no weird timing.
No weird retiming.
Yeah.
So, like, we talked about how in Legends of Metru Nui, there's all these scenes where, like, it feels like they just took however many frames they had rendered out and just stretched them over time. And so you end up getting these weird stutters where it's like it's going from what was presumably 24 frames per second to maybe like 12 or maybe even fewer. And so it's like very choppy, and then other times where it'll speed up, and it's like, what were they doing? And this movie did, well, we said there was one scene, and I honestly can't even remember what scene it was, but for the most part,
It was like one
it was
like
absent.
shot that it had a weird retiming thing.
Yeah.
But that was it.
Yeah, the rest of it, very pleasant,
looked very
very
good.
easy to watch.
The Tortugas spinners especially, I thought looked super cool when they were flying. Like, whatever effects they were doing.
There was a lot of cool art direction in the movie. And like we said, the actual character designs were, I think, quite good.
Yeah, I thought they were phenomenal.
Of the
And
Hordica,
the way
especially.
like all of them moved, like they kind of like half loped, half walked, and it looked very cool and like bestial for the Hordica.
Yeah.
And also the Visorak having their mandibles or like their inner mouth just be like spinning
The
buzz
spinning
saws.
gears
Yeah.
or like
It's like
saws. Yeah.
That's really cool and threatening.
Yeah. I also, the one thing I
But
will
of course they
critique-
ripped it off from Wreck-It Ralph.
naturally.
Yeah, 2015's Wreck-It Ralph.
2012.
2012?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, pretty sure. But what I was gonna say about the character designs is Visorak is the one I will pick on. I do not like Visorak's design in that movie. Just the face. Was it 2012?
Yeah, it was 2012. Not
So-
the movie 2012. There's a movie that came out in 2012.
Yeah. Ironically, 2012. Actually, before I say this, I should fact check it, but I'm pretty sure 2012 did not come out in 2012.
Yeah, I think it came out in like what,
I think it
2008?
came out 2010 maybe.
2009.
2009. Yeah. But what I was saying is Visorak's face is like the rest of him, design-wise, he's fine, but his head is so ugly. The weird visor thing.
Yeah, the visor that
is-
works like his eyes and like squash and stretch with it.
It's so weird.
And his head just also seems small compared to his body.
I just don't like it. Like, you could have done such a cool design for Visorak, and this movie was not it.
Yeah.
Everybody else, good. Actually, I think Rudaka's design, like her face design, is particularly threatening looking. And so it's like, which in contrast to Visorak makes it so annoying, because it's like, why couldn't you have taken that design language and put it on Visorak?
Yeah.
But
Rudaka was definitely a standout of this movie. Like, she was really cool.
Yeah.
Very threatening villain.
yeah.
And just cool design.
Yeah, I really like
We know you like Rudaka,
design.
Jacob.
Yeah, we're well aware.
Jacob spends a lot of time admiring Rudaka's design.
This is slander. I'm gonna sue. I'm not like other Bionicle fans.
I love that you're defending this, because you were the one during the movie who was like,
Look, man, I
I don't even get to finish my accusation before he
can
gets into defense.
say
That's how you know it's a good accusation.
I can know that they were attempting to do something.
How come Thomas and I didn't notice it?
Yes, you did. Don't pretend like you didn't
I don't
notice.
see set design. I only see lore.
Thomas literally watches for the plot.
I'm literally crying right now. All right, I feel like that's a good ending to an episode right there.
So that is the end of this Web of Shadows review.
Bionicle 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep,
The
Bionicle
last
3.
one.
Yep. There's
Asterisk or quotation marks.
This is the end of Bonkle. There's no Bonkle after this. It's all gone.
Yep.
George
Hope you
Lucas
guys enjoyed it.
George Lucas got it in the divorce.
The George Lucas, Greg Farshtey lore just keeps getting weirder and weirder. I really hope neither of them ever listen to this podcast. Mr. Farshtey, if you're listening to this podcast, we love you. But not in a weird way, like Thomas loves Rudaka.
Sure, bro.
Jacob's projecting right now.
What?
All right.
So that's the end of this episode. And look out next time coming up on the Barraki Talk Show for the continued adventures of the Toa Metru, where we go all through the books in between, the books in between the two movies, Bionicles 2 and 3, and we'll take a look at Time Trap, which happens after Bionicle 3, and that will conclude every single event that the Toa Metru / Hordica have ever done.
Anyway, stay tuned.
Yep, stay tuned.
And stay frosty.
This brings us to the end of today's podcast. If you enjoyed the discussion, please follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you like to watch instead of listen, you can also find us on YouTube. The Barraki Talk Show is only made possible thanks to viewers like you. Thank you.